Time for the part that's not so flashy. Time for the part that actually works, right? The part that adds up. I'm talking 30 minutes pedaling, and it's really not that bad. Honestly, you guys are hyping this up to be like a marathon. 30 minutes a day. What are you, nuts? Look, man, how many minutes a day are we all scrolling? Right? How many minutes a day are we all watching something that just really doesn't add zilch? Right? But we still do it just because we're crazy, And guess what? I can still play on my phone while I'm sitting on the bike. That's why I like the bike, because it's not like the Stairmaster or even the treadmill where you're kind of wobbling, walking back and forth. Because on the seated bike, your torso stays totally still, right? You're just camped out. Sure, you're pedaling, you're huffing a little bit. I'm not sitting here like dying out of breath. X number of Clash Royale games, plus a little bit of YouTube, plus some TikTok, plus some Instagram. Boom, 30 minutes over. Like that, right? I mean, it's really not too wild. But yeah, no, it definitely feels good to be back. Nothing planned for the next while, honestly, so far. These last few months have been kind of freaking crazy. Because it was, went to London for Gymshark Lift London, which was pretty nuts. I went to the board and I essentially said, how about we do Lift Ohio? Just so I don't have to do like a 13-hour flight. Yeah, that was not exactly in the books. But that'd be funny. That's I'm spoiled with the Arnold, because that's for me it's like a 30-minute drive. So that's basically in the scheme of things right in my freaking backyard. So if you happen to be lucky enough where you're right next to like one of these congregations, be it like the Olympia in Vegas, or Fit Expo in California, or the Arnold in Columbus, or whatever, I mean, it's just freaking sweet. But yeah, so Lift London, and then a New York show that I checked out, and then the Olympia. We've been bouncing all over the place, and luckily I've been dieting that whole time. When I'm off season, like trying to eat a bunch of food, I don't really want to be running around too much, right? I kind of want to really be sitting and just have an extra consistent day, right? Wake up, typically pre-cardio breakfast, cardio, come back, eat some more, chill, eat, lift, eat again, eat, chill, sleep, repeat. It definitely helps to be very repetitive with the diet, up or down. Right. So now I'm getting back into that with this current phase of getting leaner, of actually the same foods every day. There's a certain it's kind of like the opposite of what you'd expect when it comes to dieting progress, right? The more repetitive and plain and boring that your diet becomes, typically the better it's actually going to perform, right? Because now, rather than just like eating all over the place, maybe one day eat here, then here, like it's just, your whole system's out of freaking whack. If you can get to a point of, okay, 3,000, 2,800, there's always on that same kind of intake and output of energy, well, things begin to become clear, right? Like if I could write out a few steps to essentially like decide whether or not you're bulking up, cutting down successfully, is if you took a guy and you made sure he tracked all of his calories every day, regardless of maybe give him a gram per pound of body weight of protein, give him a third of that in body fat, or a third of that protein number in dietary fat. So like maybe a dude's 200 pounds, that would be 200 grams of protein, 60 grams of fats, and then the rest of carbs, and just have him track everything every day and eat the same number of calories. So let's say the guy's been eating 2,800 every day. Not up, not down, not all the way around, just actually 2,800 every day for 2 weeks. And every morning, have the guy get on the scale, track his weight on a little piece of paper, and say, okay, I'm 200 today. Okay, over the course of that week, 201, 198, 199, 198, 199, 199, and at the end of the week, it's like a 198, and you can kind of see this trend coming down. You know, so if he keeps eating that same amount of food and he's continuing to lose weight gradually over time, well, then he's good, right? Keep it up. Don't do anything. It's clearly the system's not broken. Don't try to fix it. You're good. And then once his weight stops moving and he's actually eating at 2,800 every day and he's not, you know, cheating it, he's actually tracking everything, then that's his cue. All right, let's drop it to, I don't know. Usually I make my drops at least a little substantial, just so I like kind of instantly sort of notice I'm a little deeper in a deficit. But you know, drop 30 grams of carbs. Drop 50 grams of carbs. So now you're 200 calories less. So now instead of 28, the guy's eating 26. Same shit for the next 3 weeks, right? Track it. Actually eat 2,600 calories every day. Watch your weight, and then, holy crap, dude, I'm down 2 pounds over the last 2 weeks. Right? It's going to be an up and down. You can't look at it day by day. But if you look at that overall trend of those data points, oh shit, man, yeah, I'm getting leaner. And keep doing that, and keep repeating, keep gradually lowering that calorie intake. And before you know it, guess what? The guy didn't get a degree in kinesiology, diet science, and yet he still got lean because he watched his calories in, calories out, was very consistent. You know, even without training, right? Without the gym, for someone to employ that method, they would still get leaner. I think working out and adding your cardio is going to speed up the process pretty tremendously and make it, you know, easier and more enjoyable, and you're going to hold on to more muscle. But you know, it's as simple as if, you know, you get a fat cat, you give him half a bowl instead of a full bowl every day for 2 months, and you see what happens. Right? It's like, why are we a different scenario than like our pets in the sense of when we look at food control? Like with you know, I think we know the reasons, because with us, you know, we're people, we're very we're smart, we know what we want to eat. We're like, oh, you know, I love mac and cheese or just whatever. And instead of having a like numerical understanding of food where it's like, this has this many calories, if I eat this many carbs, I'm going to feel like this in 2 hours, or I'm going to look like whatever. You know, like I think the bodybuilders in general are a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of at least understanding food's impact on themselves. Not even just in a dieting up and down sense, but even in just like an overall feeling sense. You know, if somebody told me that, and I'm sure you know people like this, where all they eat every day is maybe 3, I don't even know, like 3 something or other energy drinks, a weird like obscure mac and cheese that only they like because they're like a picky eater, and then you know, something else. Like there's people who eat the weirdest fucking foods, and then the same people who are going to complain like, oh man, dude, I always get headaches, man. Oh yeah, I don't know, I get lightheaded sometimes. Like, well, you know, when was the last time you had a red meat? When was the last time you had you know, a chicken breast or eggs? You know, when was the last time you ate something that wasn't just like a packaged whatever? You know, and I'm not one to say that you can't have kind of, you know, junkish foods, but you can at least have a deeper understanding of like, okay, this is going to make me feel like this. So it's a little bit more self-aware, where, you know, I can say in like 2 weeks or in a month or something like, you know, if I eat this Wendy's chicken sandwich, it's going to make my stomach hurt. I know it is. But then sometimes you make the sacrifice and you say, I know this is going to mess with me. I want to do it anyway. Right? But at least it's like a self-aware act and not just like a subconscious impulse, if you follow me there. But you know, now I'm getting into a real ramble. I'm going to go sit down, 30 minutes on the bike. It will pass like nothing. Probably I'll see. Sometimes I don't know if the sauna is even open. Like it's closed at like the weirdest hours. But if it is open, you know, I'll pop a squat in there for about 15-ish after cardio. I always want to bring a drink, just because if I don't, like my freaking my mouth or my like throat just dries up from all the hot air. But yeah, sitting there for 15, and then we can cut to hopefully one of the little posing rooms and see how we're looking. They're you know, I don't know the exact schedule of like the Zumba classes and everything else, but sometimes they coincide, right? And they got dibs if they were there first, and it's like a whole team of like 40 people doing a whole thing. But either way, let's just see what's next. All right, yeah, that little pose down room ended up being occupied, and then a regular cardio trip turned into putting down a bunch of basically stick-on carpet on that kind of upper level. I ordered a couch, albeit kind of a scrappy looking like Amazon kind of couch. So we'll see if it ends up, it'd be kind of crazy to put something really cool up there. Plus it's going to end up getting sweat on anyway, right? I'm kind of imagining a scenario where that kind of upper level section has desk, computer, couch, fridge, table, meals already kind of ready, so that post workout there's nothing stopping you from just getting straight to it. I wouldn't be surprised if a nap would occur afterward. I haven't slept there, right? I haven't actually slept at the gym yet, but I'm sure that it'll happen. So yeah, it that doesn't hurt cardio, adding in a little bit of just steady work with like a box cutter, trying to get little gaps of everything kind of closed up. But yeah, it'll look kind of cool in there. And then I was kind of like messing with the freaking lights. So yeah, that'll be the plan for back later tonight, right? But I think I think right now we're in a little bit of a lull, and I think obviously when it comes to like enthusiasm for the gym, it comes in waves. Typically times where people are a little bit busier, the gym gets put on the back burner, right? I'm talking fall. Okay, everybody's actually getting serious now. Classes are starting, whatever. And it's not exactly winter yet, where the kind of proverbial like winter lock-in, like that hasn't happened. We're in this kind of middle ground-ish, right? And now I'm speculating, of course. I don't necessarily feel that way myself, but I do see it, right? If you go to the same place for long enough and you're like relatively attentive, you kind of start to get a feel for, who's where and when and how are they going, and just like little things like that. So all that's to say now, especially seeing not as much in Vegas, because of course everybody was there for the Olympia, so everybody was like freaking serious about working out. So obviously they all want to get after it over there. But I mean, just on like a little bit of a like more kind of small scale level, right? Like even when I was on I just did that Yellowstone road trip, so we were driving all over the place. I think I was going to, I don't remember where I stopped. Just little random gyms all over the place. It's something where you can have this vessel for energy, which I think the gym is, but it's up to the people in it to actually give it that extra vibe, just extra oomph. You know what I'm saying? So, as cool as it is to have all sorts of fancy pants equipment and everything else, if you're not bringing it, if the guys around you aren't serious or like whatever, then it just, it's just not as cool, right? The gym's only as good as the people in it. So maybe I'm just, actually, I guess obviously there's not going to be any kids in the gym because they'd be at school when I was doing my cardio. But yeah, either way, just try to. And it's a situation where it's like sometimes you got to be the change you want to see in the world. So if you want people going harder, if you want sets to be done at a higher level, if you want people really getting serious, why wait for it? Right? Why wait for someone else to do what you want? Why don't you just kind of set the tone on your own, right? Get it started. There's guys, I don't know what percentage of gyms have this. It's definitely not 100. But there are gyms where, there's like regular kind of gen populace, regular guys, regular whatever, and then there's like this, what's a good word for what I'm trying to describe? There's guys that can have this just effect when they show up, right? When I was younger, there was a guy in the YMCA that I go to where the guy was a freak. 280, 290, easy, just fucking huge. I mean, repping 4 plates like nothing, always serious, you never saw him playing around on his phone. Like, the guy was legit, and when he showed up, it's not as, I mean, he didn't say anything to anybody. Like, he would never tell someone, like, hey man, you're wasting, like, people don't say that. No one acts like that, not in the real world at least. But just from, being there and holding himself to whatever standards he was holding himself to, it just, like, the temperature changed, right? You could feel it. You could feel the presence, knowing, like, all right, this guy's getting after it. And it's not because he was huge. It's not because whatever. It's just, you knew that they had that kind of energy about them, right? So if you're at a gym where someone's like that, especially if you're actually a little more on the beginner side of things, dude, more power to you. I think there's like a lot of speculation that, people aren't going to be very welcoming if, you're not the biggest guy. Maybe you don't know what you're doing. Not the case at all, right? I know for me personally, I'm the most excited when I see somebody at the gym who I haven't seen there particularly often, and then I continue to see him over time. And I'm like, oh shit, this guy's got some pattern changes in his routine. He's actually showing up nice. And it's not I don't want it to be a thing where it's like you need to get anyone's approval from doing that. I'm just saying that, from my perspective, that's what I like to see, right? Because there's big ass dudes who walk in, you seem kind of whatever. It's easy to maintain, right? It's easy to just come in the gym, be the same guy, go home, eat the same food, don't really diet, don't get bigger, don't get leaner. Like, staying the same size, very doable, very manageable. So if you're at your peak size and you're like, this is where I want to stay, then shit, man, you're good, right? Do what's necessary, and I guess spend the rest of your time chilling, right? But if I want more, then I know that it's going to kind of demand extra attention and effort while I'm there, right? So I don't want to catch myself slacking in any kind of freaking capacity. But yeah, nothing else to say there. Kind of a quick one, just a quick little cardio tag along. So I'm going to go home, eat some food, chill a little bit, and then I've got a back day tonight. So not sure where that's going to go down, but I can guarantee I will be pumped at the end of it. So I guess we'll see for that tomorrow.